Assalamu alaikum. My name is Abdullah Jan and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I am going to discuss a topic of my subject, that is plant nutrition. My course is plant nutrition and the topic of this presentation will be identification of different kinds of fertilizers. First of all, I would like to introduce what is a fertilizer. Fertilizer is any chemical that may be organic and may be inorganic that is given to the soil that increase or that provide the nutrients that are required for the plants but are not available in the soil. Indirectly, we can say that fertilizers increase the nutrients availability for the plants and they increase the growth of the plant. There are two types of fertilizers. Number one, complete fertilizers and incomplete fertilizers. The complete fertilizers are those that have all three basic primary nutrients, that are nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, while the incomplete fertilizers are those which do not have the primary nutrients, or all the primary nutrients are not completely or partially available in the incomplete fertilizers. For further details, there are different forms of fertilizers. Number one, granular fertilizers. Number two, powdered fertilizers and liquid form fertilizers. Granular fertilizers are those which are present in the form of different grains. For example, the grain of wheat, and it may be present, the fertilizer may be present in the form of small minute balls or the small grains. And the next one are the powdered fertilizers. If we want to explain the powder fertilizers, we are very well known about the powders. Powder is anything that is completely grinded. For example, potassium fertilizers are mostly present in the powdered form. And the third one and the next one, that is liquid fertilizers. Liquid fertilizers are those which are required in very less amount. These are applied at the very specific level. They may be required at very large amount and can be spread through the drones in the modern technology over the large fields, which is included on many of the hectares. There are the basic primary three nutrients, that are nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium today, and I am discussing about the first of all the urea fertilizers. Urea fertilizer is mostly required in the soils which are waterlogged in conditions. Urea fertilizers are readily available, readily soluble in the soil, and they do not cause the leaching process. First of all, the urea fertilizer, which has 46% of nitrogen in the 100 kg of the bag, there will be 46 kg of the nitrogen. Then we will say sodium nitrate. This includes also nitrogen and this contains 16% of the nitrogen. Then comes the potassium nitrate, that contains 13.85% of the nitrogen. Most of the nitrogen fertilizers are in white form. If you take the example of the urea fertilizer is present in the form of small grains or the small balls. If we have a sample of a fertilizer that is white in color and has grains like small minute balls, then we may consider it, or we may say that it is urea fertilizer. Urea fertilizer is highly soluble and highly volatile in nature. We require water, a large amount of water, so that the urea fertilizer is easily absorbed in the surface and the plants take it more easily. There are other forms. These are readily soluble. The next is the phosphatic fertilizers. These fertilizers, that are the phosphatic fertilizers, are mostly used for the strongly acidic and organic soils. The main example of the phosphatic fertilizer that is used in our country, that is Pakistan, are DAP, diammonium phosphate, SSP and MAP. In the DAP, there is 46% of the phosphorus that is present in the 100% of the DAP. SSP, single superphosphate, has 16 to 20% of the percentage of the phosphorus element or the mineral, while the MAP contains about 48% of the phosphorus. If we have the sample of a DAP, then it is mostly dark gray or the brown. It is also present in the granular form, in the forms of small minute balls. These balls may be in the round form, and they may be in the form of elliptical, or they may be in the oval shape or some other shape, but they are present in the form of grains. If we take the example of single superphosphate, that is SSP, its color is silver gray. It is also present in the form of small balls. And if we take the example of MAP, it is present in the form of color. Its color is silver white. And the very next is the potassic fertilizers. The potassic fertilizers are normally required for the acidic and the heavy soils. Acidic soils are those which have very less pH, and the potassium increases their balances their pH to the normal or the optimum level. First of all, we take the example of potassium nitrate, which is contains the 44% of the potassium in the 100% sample of the potassium sulfate. Potassic fertilizers are mostly in the form of grinded form. Grinded form is that which is the powdered form of anything. The fertilizer is present in the powdered form, and it is also called as grinded. The next example of the potassic fertilizer is potassium sulfate, that is K2SO4. The basic percentage of the potassium in this fertilizer is about 48 to 50%. This is water soluble, and it is the powdered form, and it is also in white color. For the different fertilizers, like iron fertilizer, there are two types of iron fertilizers. Number one is ferrous oxide, and number two is ferric oxide. To take first the ferrous oxide, it has 77% of the iron in the 100% sample, or the 100. If we take 100 kilogram bag of ferrous oxide, then we will obtain about 77 kg of iron, and that will be available to the plants to uptake. The ferrous oxide, the color is black colored. Ferrous oxide is black colored, dark colored, and it is also present in the powdered form. The next example of the iron fertilizer is ferric oxide. Ferric oxide is brown. It may be different colors. Ferric oxide, the percentage of the iron in the ferric oxide is about 69%. This is also in the grounded form, powdered form. Its color may be different. The color may be changed, and it may be in the dark brown color. It may be present in the darkest, very dark green color, and it may be present in the dark brick red color. So these are the most of the inorganic fertilizers which are present in the different shapes. We can identify a fertilizer by its bag if we have a complete bag and we visit any of the outlet of the fertilizers. For example, we have the urea written with its chemical formula and percentage of the nitrogen. We can easily identify it. Same case will be applied on the DAP or any of the potassic or the phosphoric fertilizers. The next will be the organic fertilizers. Organic fertilizers are mostly obtained from the animal waste, that is the animal dungs, and these are very precisely or very carefully applied, because these are applied on the very large amount, and we have to apply these organic fertilizers before a certain period of time, because these organic fertilizers will require a specific time to decompose. When they are not decomposed, they will not be available for the plants. So before, most of the times, organic fertilizers are carried and they are spread on the fields, and they may be kept for the time so that the removal of the air take place. Then the tractor is used so that they incorporate that organic fertilizers into the soil. When they are incorporated, they will be covered by the soil and they will start decomposing. I hope you understand a lot about the identification of different fertilizers, and thank you very much. I will see you in the next video.